Can you tell the people how was your experience in Burundi? Like
Yes, I was in
short.
Burundi during the Rwanda genocide. It was one of the few times in my life that I had decided to leave the sea. I was decided I am fed up with the sea, and I was based in Geneva at that time. And I decided to do all the UN agencies because I had nothing. I'm a nautical officer. Right? The only thing I had is that I speak four languages more or less fluently. I know a little bit about transportation because I was a nautical officer. And so I went to all these UN agencies, and I had some experience in Africa because I lived in Mozambique until I was 17 years old. And the first agency that accepted me was the UNHCR. And then the genocide in Rwanda began, and they decided to send me to Rwanda to Burundi because it was chaos, it was mayhem, you cannot it's very difficult to describe what Burundi was during the genocide or after the genocide. I arrived there at the end, basically at the end of the genocide, but nobody was expecting it. And so just to give an image of how much nobody was expecting it, the representative, the UNHCR representative in Burundi, had been sent to Burundi to close the agency in Burundi because it was a very symbolic moment for the UNHCR because it was the Burundi had been the first agency out of Europe that the HCR had opened. And so it was the first one to be closed, and it was very symbolic. So
What
you
year was
can.
that? Sorry to interrupt. But what year was that? More or less.
It was in 93 or 94. It was the end.
Okay.
You have to Google 90. I think it was 93
Yeah.
or beginning 94.
Fine. Yeah.
And so when I got there, I didn't even have a place to sit. I did not have an office. I was walking in the streets trying to find trucks. We were receiving refugees every day, thousands of refugees, um, and we had to cope out of nothing. And it was, I must tell you that it was, for me, it was one of the years of my life. I was very lucky because that the representative that had been there to close the agency was a fantastic person. He was a young New Yorker guy. He gave me free hand to I could handle it the way, basically almost the way I wanted, which is where I am best, is when I can do things my way and I don't have anyone telling me what to do. And we managed something that in 4 months, 5 months, we had a logistical chain working from Bujumbura to the deep end of Burundi, and it was amazing, but it was crazy. The first 2 months, we were working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. It was from morning to
Wow.
after two. And when I say work, it's work. It's not. It's to eat. We had a sandwich somewhere or a beer or
Mhm.
whatever. And after 2 months, after the first 2 months, we start having Sundays free, but the other days were 12 hours a day. And after 4 months, the situation stabilized a little, but it is very difficult to describe because you were living on a situation. I mean, I was not directly involved with the genocide. I mean, the genocide was over when I arrived. It was almost over, but I still had kids in the street with scares all around their earth because they had been cut with machetes. I had three killers sleeping in my office because they could not go into the street because they would be they would be killed. So they were sleeping in my office.
And were you not afraid of sleeping with three murderers
I
next
was
to
not
you?
sleeping. They were sleeping in my office. I was not. I was awake up. No, I was
Okay.
not afraid. I mean, I think that there was it was a kind of madness. It was madness. It was something totally irrational, and they were more afraid they were sleeping in my office because they could not go into the streets, and they were more afraid than me. I was.
Yes. Yeah.
To start with, they had no reason to kill me whatsoever. I was not Tutsi, I was not Hutu. First of all, second, I was giving shelter to them. I was protecting them. No, I was not afraid. But it was a curious sensation. Every time that I had to go to work, I had to jump over 3 bodies of people who were accused of killing hundreds of persons. It is, to say the least, curious. But it was a fantastic year, personally, professionally. It was totally. I would not leave it again. If you tell me, Luís, there's a genocide back, would you go there? I said, no, thanks. It's enough. Once in a lifetime is enough. But it was a fantastic, terrible, but fantastic year. Yes.